Welcome everyone. Great to see so many participants attending this webinar from Sharefox in collaboration with Bonzer. I think we had different webinars over a year and a half. We had 9 or 10 webinars, and I've never seen such an interest. So we obviously touched upon an important topic, and hopefully we will bring some value to the participants here today, and also get the recording afterwards. There's quite a variety among the participants today. A lot of you know and use Sharefox in daily operation and know the company very well. Others are collaborators and agencies using Sharefox to provide rental services for your customers, and other are companies considering Sharefox. So we will do a small introduction here, also on Sharefox and the platform in general. Also, welcome to you, Stian at Bonzer. I will pass the ball later on to you, so you get a proper introduction of yourself and Bonzer as an agency. We chose to do this in English. There's 5-6 nationalities among the participants, but as you know, Nordics is our main market. So just to be clear, vi snakker norsk, vi taler svenska. Sonja is here present, handling the Swedish market. I'm not sure if I'm going to test to speak some Danish, tale danske. I'm not sure if I'm good at that, but anyhow, we have agents and collaborators helping out in the Danish market as well. Good. On today's agenda, 3 steps: an introduction of Sharefox as a platform, as a rental commerce platform, a bit about Bonzer as an agency and how they operate in visibility, and then we will do a small sidestep, because today the main topic is AI in marketing, but AI is also a huge. If you put up that headline, it's also a huge topic affecting different parts of a company. And we use it. We see that it's been a fantastic journey for us this far, and we're still early days in Sharefox. So our CTO will touch a bit on how we work on AI on different areas. And this is more of a teaser on upcoming webinars, because today we will concentrate on and focus on marketing, but we also want to show how do we apply AI in our company, and make that topic for upcoming webinars. And then I will pass the ball to Bonzer, and they will talk about visibility in general and SEO as a part, and then AI and AI effects, and how what should not be done in these exciting times. We hope to wrap it up in about 45 minutes, and then we have 15 minutes for questions and answers. Good. And for those of you who don't know and are so familiar with Sharefox as a company, we're pretty young as a company, founded in 2018, officially launched in 2019, headquartered in Oslo. But as any modern software company, I think we're 5 or 6 nationalities. We are spread on similar amount of countries. We have Nordics as the main market. We want to write 500, but we're not close there, but it's in use all over Nordics. And also, as we put on the second line here, is actually customers using this software in 11 countries on 4 continents. So we are happy to see that we have solved rental needs from a system and software part, that it's solving problems both in Canada, US, Australia, parts of Europe, mainly in Nordics. And we got the first customer in South Africa just last week. On today's topic, AI in marketing, we work a lot with this ourselves. Just yesterday, we had a new customer in Sweden, and we asked them, where did you find this? How did you discover Sharefox? And they said, ChatGPT. So we work a lot on this, and we see that also the way we now benchmark different kind of software in our cases, and maybe rental services in your cases, it's important to to create right type of content and do the right grips, to put it that way, to be able to appear in those searches. And this have been true. Where we enable businesses to create new rental-based services, and then we transform existing rental operations. That's our role in this part. And I have to say, we discover a surprisingly high amount of, when you do a rental operation, of Excel sheets, Post-it notes, white label whiteboards, and so on, and calendars that you partly made. And when you get some volume, you will need a system to handle that operation, and we fill that role. Good. Short about Sharefox. Pass the ball to you, Stian, to give a short introduction about yourself and Bonzer as a company.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much, Fred, for inviting us here in Bonzer to participate in this really exciting webinar. My name is Stian. I'm a director here at Bonzer. We are the largest purely organic agency in Northern Europe, or at least Scandinavia, we think also Northern Europe. That means we work with structuring information on websites so that mathematical logic, whether it's ChatGPT, AI, search engines, etc., can find and understand that our clients are relevant for whichever types of search, whichever types of commercial search intentions they want to be found on. I'll be walking through how to do this more from a practical point of view when it comes to visibility in AI a little bit later, but that's a quick intro of who we are and what we do.
Thank you, Stian. And I see some similarities here. You in the Nordics, you mentioned, and the global, and you have offices both in Denmark and Sweden.
Very much so. Jag snackar också norsk. Jag kan också tala svenska om det är behov för det. But our language, we work in English internally. Obviously, we work also around the world. Just as Sharefox with this, a lot of, for example, collaborations in the US market. But we're based in the Nordics. We're Scandinavian. Most of the people who work here are Scandinavian. Oslo, Stockholm, Copenhagen.
Thank you. And when we bring up this topic about visibility in AI search, it's because if you use Sharefox and it's a turnkey platform for rental commerce, it might be your main website, or you might be a part of your main website handling the rental part. That means that you have a web shop for your customers, being B2B customers or B2C customer, maybe a mix. That makes it important for you as a user of Sharefox to use the capabilities within the platform to be able to reach to your target group and your customers. And yes, you could see in the middle here, you also have a lot of our customers have different departments, different locations. There could be different assortment on their different locations. There could be different services around different locations. To be able to differentiate on that is also vital. It's important to be able to discover the service that you have within your city or that location. And then on the right side, you see those who use Sharefox in daily operations, all the rental orders, but all the things you publish to the website, and all the things you do that in the daily rental operations. And this touches also a bit upon what you will talk about later, Stian, because to be able to provide a complete rental solution, we have done a lot of integrations in Sharefox. Because if you have rental customers, you might want to know who they are. You want them to identify themselves through bank ID or MIT ID or other types. You should provide so they be able to pay. So they pay through nets with Visa or other type, or maybe create an invoice. You would use the marketing tools within the platform to reach your customers. And it's a lot of revenue going through this platform, so it needs to be connected to your accounting and your accounting system. And on top of that, not at least, this is a special areas. We work a lot on access and self-service. That's maybe our competitive edge here. So as you see on the left side here, it's keyless and self-service. So we integrate with different type of locking systems. So you're open up customers to use your service day and night. But also by doing all this integration, that is the purpose, is to get a complete solution. But by doing all these integrations and also linking to all these partners, we get authority as a software company. And I know you will touch a bit about that later on, Stian. So doing this is also, it is a side effect to it. And we get quite a lot of customers that, okay, how did you discover Sharefox? I found it on the integration partners at Power Office or similar. So that's, I know that's participants there working on the tourist and sports industry and using machinery and others, and doing the similar things in your area would and can be important. Good. As I promised, a bit of a sidestep here. This is not AI in marketing, but AI in general. How do we work on it in Sharefox, and where are we, and what will we do in the near future? And by that, I pass it on to you, Christian, our CTO in Sharefox.
Thank you, Fred. Can you hear me okay? Hi, everyone. Very happy to be with you today. So very quickly, we have a lot of AI developments in Sharefox in different departments, and the marketing initiative that Fred is talking about today is just one of them. But there are many things happening. We have, like all the software companies, we have a lot of efficiency initiatives by using AI by our product and engineering teams. So we have a bit of faster coding and better prototypes and everything. And I hope that our merchants, through that, they will just see a little bit like more features or faster deliveries or better quality. So we're very happy that this is happening in the world. And then we have a bit closer to like what our customers can see and feel. We work, of course, in other departments too. So, for example, during onboarding, or our existing merchants can use our AI-based help center assistant. So it's possible today it will be, actually it's almost live, so it's possible to use natural language to search to our help articles and to get a bit of a custom advice to your problem, and with links to different help articles. And I think that would make the experience more pleasant and efficient. Then so that helps a bit on our support interactions and yeah, when you have support needs, basically. Then we have a few actually AI native feature initiatives as well. So we have released a small what we call a small smart configurator that is actually present in admin settings today, and people can from there, for example, control their calendar and open different days or close different holidays. And also it's quite smart. It knows your country, so it will take care of the holidays in different countries. And yeah, the merchants that used it, they were very happy. So this is normally used in onboarding, but if you want it, and if for whatever reason it's not active on your site, just let us know. We'll put it on. And then, of course, we do have a lot of R&D happening on even stronger features, because there are many new AI technologies going on. And we have some of our merchants have been contacted by our product department, and there have been some dialogues and interviews. And again, if any of you are very interested to talk with us about AI beyond marketing, just please let us know. Yeah, so more news will come on that in the future. Fred, passing back to you.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for summing up all the initiative we do around AI, and I think it's relevant to our customers using Sharefox also. Even if you don't do coding, you have a support function, you have interaction with your customer, so on. And as you said, there's already a smart configurator pilot, so they could enable if it's not already enabled within the product. Good. As a backdrop for today's topic, for years we've been working on digital marketing, all of us, on how to get visible in Google, and that's been the thing. And we see, ideally it would be a bit broader, but when we Google, we use small sentences, short sentences. I made a suggestion here with Hyravakti Karlstad. That's not how we normally do it. And then we see there's a lot of things happening in Google now, and Stian will present that as well, the results we get. But when we do ChatGPT and similar tools, we prompt in a totally different way. I think all of us present here do that today. You do it smartly. Give me en oversikt over følgende, over the tool rental services in this survey. Could you benchmark? And it's complex prompting, and it's very wise, and to be able to do that the right way and then also be visible, it's important, and that's what Stian will touch about later on. As you could see from a result here in ChatGPT, my small test, you get the big ones. This is Renta and Lambertsson is the big players in Sweden. But then you have Sturbutikken, Lokalbutikk i Karlstad, and they obviously done some right. They've done quite a lot of things right in Google in general, and also for an AI search. So that's really interesting. But the way we go from small short sentences to prompts is an important topic, and will be, if not deep dive, be elaborated later on. Good. Before we go into AI specific tips, visibility is important in general. So if you haven't done stage 1, you can just jump to stage 7. So I will just show the capabilities that already in Sharefox. If you publish a new site in Sharefox, opening in a rental service, there's an SEO settings in general. We call it the global settings, where you could put up all the important tools to let Google and other search engines understand what kind of business are you, where you're located, what are you providing, and so on. So this is important to do anyhow. And as you could see here in the example, there's a tutorial also on the right side on how to do it, and you get tips along the way. So that is on your service in general. And then there's also on the product and category level. So if you see here, and if you publish your rental assortment, there's an SEO tab where you should fill out a bit based on insight on what is the search for in my area, what are the words they search for, what is relevant to me, and so on. And you do that both on the content and on the picture part. The picture part is actually picked from a rental service in Vienna based on Sharefox. It's a self-service rental, tool rental service from 2 locations in Vienna. So by doing this part in general to the general settings, you done stage 1 okay, and then of course it's important to do, let's call it content marketing, to publish some content that is relevant to your customers and what will they search for. So we have one example here from one of our customers in a self-storage facility. Another example here in tool rental and connected to the tool data rental to do the different activities. And also an example from sports. I think it's from the fabulous Outsep team being present here today in Berlin. They did fantastic things. And you could see how you create content and around different topics relevant to your service. And this should be, you should focus on this either just on SEO in general, and then might apply some techniques on the AI visibility. So it's important to do the basics first. I think that's then I touch a bit upon the capabilities within Sharefox in general, and then I will pass the word to you, Stian, and the SEO part. Thank you.
And thank you again, Fred, and everybody at the team at Sharefox. We in Bonzer have had the pleasure of working with Sharefox in the past. At that time, the focus was search engine optimization. Today, the topic is very much organic optimization. And when we're talking about organic visibility, we're talking about visibility in Gemini, in Google, ChatGPT, Bing, whatever it is. The general trend in organic search now is you see more fragmentation, and you also see a race towards quality. Fragmentation meaning people are searching on more platforms than before. People might be searching for guides on YouTube. They might be doing the traditional short form searches on Google. They might be doing very customized, deep research on Gemini, on ChatGPT. They're applying different types of search in different search engines, but all of these search engines, or LLMs, or AIs, whatever you want to call it, they all have a mathematical logic behind them. The purpose of us here in Bonzer is to structure information on websites so that these different mathematical logics can understand that information. So what we're going to do a quick walkthrough, and I promise it's not going to be a deep dive, Fred, but we have to skim the surface here, but hopefully we can get some really good practical tips. We're going to be looking a bit at AI overviews, like AI is integrated into search engines, and also gaining visibility straight in search engines and in LLMs. And if we just want to think about this from a sort of big picture point, it's not like the humans searching have changed. People are still the same. People have been the same for thousands of years. The things that change are more the methods and sort of logics, way of thinking that people have when they use different types of tools. And when it comes to AI, basically, we have to think a little bit more complex, a little bit more nuanced, a little bit deeper. And the core principle that we need to apply in all the content that we produce is something which is called EEAT. EAT stands for experience, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. It's basically a quick term to keep in mind that when you're, for example, writing an article, let's say you're a storage rental company, when you're writing articles about your different rental locations where people can store, you might need to include maybe a case study of somebody who rented some storage unit there and what happened during that rental and how it helped them. You might also need to include some information and structure it in a good way about the different types of units you have. You might also want to include which types of technology you're using so that people can access this. You might want to include an article about your partner, Sharefox, for example. So EEAT is basically about, through the content on your website, whether it's text or video, or might also be podcasts, basically showing that you're a real company with real people, with real customers that work with this every day. And if you do EEAT properly, you can be visible across different types of search. Here you see one example of just one content article on our domain. Hva godt SEO-innhold? Basically a guide. What is good search engine optimized content? Here it is in Google. Here it is in the Google AI overview. Sorry. Here it is in Google's traditional search engine referenced, and here it is directly referenced in ChatGPT. One article, but following the EEAT principles, structuring the information, operationalizing it both with some case content, but also with basic, let's say, academic knowledge about a given topic. If we then want to think about sort of the difference, and Fred was so kind as to sort of start us down this road, we're going to talk about the difference between traditional search engines and the way people search in AIs. I think we can just surmise it very quickly. One is short, the other is personal and long. Short, personal, and long. Just like Fred showed, hyrenhet Karlstad, I don't remember which Swedish city it was, but just a short couple of keywords, yeah. If you're doing this, and probably most of you have the same experience, when you're doing searches in Gemini or ChatGPT, you might write out like a paragraph long prompt where you might reference XY, you might link to something to give the AI, to give the LLM a lot of insight. Through that sort of very customized and very specific and more complex search, we also, if we structure our information correctly, we have an ability to gain a lot of visibility. Because AI, and just like Sundar Pichai, the head of Alphabet, basically the head of Google, and sort of the most important person in the world of search still, by using AI and by sort of applying the search logic to the content on our domain, we will be able to, as he says, serve a wider range of information needs and answer new types of questions. If we structure our information to be more nuanced, broad, then we will be able to gain visibility, not just on quick, easy searches like the traditional search engine searches, but on sort of all different types of topics related to our rental business, or for us, search engine, organic visibility business, or Fred, software as a service integration, etc., business. It works the same no matter what. The principles stay the same. It doesn't matter if you're renting out a jumbo jet or a lawnmower. The principles will be the same. And if we then do this from sort of a practical step-by-step point of view, the first thing we need to think about is the content. And by content, we're mostly talking about text-based content. You might also want to include video or audio files, but the core of most websites will be text. When you think about a different topic, you want to approach it from different angles. Within the search engine space, within the organic visibility space, this is called a pillar and cluster approach. So let's say I rent different types of gardening equipment. Well, the topic is then gardening and renting gardening equipment. Within that, you'll have different types of equipment with different types of uses. If you want to gain visibility in AI, in ChatGPT and Gemini, you should structure your information, your content, when you write about this, in a nuanced way. So you want to have, for example, one article or maybe 2 or 3 about the different types of lawnmowers and their usage. You might want to do the same for the different types of watering equipment you have, etc. By structuring it in a pillar and cluster formation, you'll be able to give nuanced information in a clear and structured manner, and thereby you'll also be understood by the LLMs in a more nuanced way. So pillar, cluster, write in-depth content, write it in a nuanced way, and be very specific about the different topics you cover. And if we work like this, we'll be able to not just be visible, for example, on one different search when people start in an LLM. Hopefully will be visible when they do different types of searches. So people don't usually just write one prompt when they do searches in Gemini, ChatGPT. They write different prompts. So by covering a topic from different angles and by being included in the first answer, it's more likely that you'll be included in the second, third, fourth. That gives you a broad visibility. And the purpose of that visibility is obviously that people will go to your website and give you their business. We're not doing this for a charitable purpose. Obviously, we're doing it to gain visibility. We're doing it to gain possible customers. Another thing we should always think about and monitor to maintain our visibility in LLMs is to keep our content fresh. By fresh content, we're talking about updating our information during the year. Usually here in Bonzer, we recommend that content should be updated at least every 6 months, but at the minimum every 12 months. And when I'm talking about updating content, I'm not saying you have to write a new article every week about the same topic. It might just be updating some links. It might be changing some paragraphs. It might be referencing maybe a law changed in 2025, which wasn't the same in 2024. The reason being is that the LLMs, they like to provide high quality original content, but which is also relevant and new. So if we write good content and we can keep it updated, then we're very much getting locked in to what the LLMs are searching for. Here in Bonzer, we have our own sort of in-house developed tool for this, because this is sort of one of the really core topics that one has to keep track of to make sure you gain the visibility in LLMs. Another thing we would recommend, if you're already really good at text-based content, then you might also want to start thinking about maybe introducing some graphic elements, maybe video elements, maybe audio elements. Within our world, this is called multimodal search, but basically it's about approaching a topic and making sure that it's has content, that it has different types of content for different types of people. Search engines and also LLMs like to provide high quality information. Obviously, we can see that this is from just a human point of view, a visible website, which is also pleasing for the eye, easily navigatable, structured. That is something that you can think about when you've mastered sort of the more text-based. Obviously, first comes text and then comes the other ones. Another thing we would recommend is that when you write the content, think about it more in a conversational tone of voice. Don't think that you're writing sort of a entry into the encyclopedia. It should be written in a more natural language, sort of more like if you were explaining this to, let's say, a room of 10 of your potential business partners. Then you're not going to be like a robot explaining it. You'll be more nuanced, more in a conversational tone of voice. And everything you see, by the way, in this presentation will be shared with you later. So a lot of these points, you can go in depth later. One thing, and this is a little bit more of a technical point, is to gain visibility in LLMs, you should make sure that you have your structured data covered. Structured data is another word for something called a schema markup. That is basically a way to structure information which is put into the HTML code of your website. Basically, the code which is not visible to you when you enter the website, but which the LLMs and the search engines read. Structured data gives information which is really relevant, for example, about the products you might be renting out or the services that you provide as a rental company. You can read more about this in the presentation, but this is something which is highly crucial, I would say, and we would say here at Bonzer, to be sure that the content you spend a lot of time writing is being understood correctly, and also that the services and products that you have will be understood correctly. Finishing up with the technical part, you should also, from a performance point of view, make sure that the page speed of your domain is up to speed, so to speak. You should also make sure that the sitemap on your domain is visible. If these terms sound Greek to you, if they're something that you haven't worked with before, you can Google this, or you can obviously talk with us here at Bonzer. There are tools you can use to test this, tools that are free that you can use to test this. And obviously, there are also more advanced SEO tools which you can use to get a nuanced understanding of this. But if you're thinking about this from a technical point of view, make sure the structured data is set up, make sure the page speed is good, and make sure the sitemap is available and updated. If you do at least those three things, it's going to be much more probable, again, that the good content that you're writing is being understood correctly by the LLMs and it's being shown by the LLMs. At the end of the day, the reason we want to do this is that we want to have what we call a strong brand awareness. We want to be visible across different types of searches. And another way of making this more probable is through what's called both content activity and community activity. Probably if you have let's say a rental operation which has been going on for quite a while, people might be writing about how they experienced that in, for example, Reddit or different types of other web or web page forums. This is actually LLM AI gold. The AIs love to reference this type of content. So if you have communities where people are talking about rental operations, or people are talking about your business in particular, please engage with that content. Provide some value to that conversation. That is something which will benefit you. It's something also that the AIs draw attention to and really like to reference and show up. So Reddit is not your enemy, but it might actually be a really good friend of yours when it comes to visibility. And the last thing I would like to sort of press that is very important is that obviously you need to make sure that you're writing good content, but you also need to make sure that you write it consistently. Slow and steady wins the SEO, GEO, generative engine optimization race. We usually recommend, if it's possible, that you write 2 to 3 what's called informative content pieces every month. If you can manage to do 3, then do 2. If you can manage to do 2, then do 1. But do it consistently. Consistency is the key. Slow and steady will win the race. Thereby, you're always participating in the conversation around whichever topic is important for you. And through that, you show that you are an up-to-date and highly knowledgeable domain talking about whichever topic, again, which is relevant. By doing that, you'll be indexed, you'll be quoted, as it's called in AI speak, for a much broader range of topics. And it'll also help you in the traditional search engines. If you have more content, nuanced content, talking about it consistently, you'll be indexed for 10x the amount of keywords if you do it in an unnuanced and then inconsistent way. So if you're not already doing it, check up on when was the last time we actually published something about the business that we're in. When was the last time we wrote an article about a happy customer? Basically, are we keeping up to date with the topics happening in our field? And also, are we engaging with the community? Last but not least, when we have these new ways of searching, you should also have new ways of tracking whether or not you are visible. Here in Bonzer, we have lots of different tools. Obviously, contact us later if you want to sort of do a little bit more of a deep dive in this and more specifically for your business. There are all tools which you can use where you can, like by the minute, see when was the last time you were quoted by Gemini or by ChatGPT for a given article. And it's actually quite cool, especially when you start building this out, that you can see that somebody just wrote a prompt which said X, and then in your website was shown. And recently, I just got an email just heading into this meeting from my client. We just got 2 leads from the new article, and both came from ChatGPT. So this is something you can track. It's something you really see results from. And obviously, like Fred said himself, well, we found you in ChatGPT. That's the new reality. We also need to track it. We need to understand where we are. Summing up, people haven't changed. It's just a little bit more how they change. And I would say people are now searching more like people think. You're not thinking like 2 keywords. You're thinking conceptually, you're thinking whole sentences. You might be sitting there thinking for an hour. So people are now searching much more as they speak, and people speak in a nuanced way. Therefore, we need to communicate our information, our business, in a nuanced way. If we do that, then we will succeed. And this train is really heading out of the station, and it's just increasing in speed. So if you haven't checked up on a couple of these things, maybe the month of October, maybe now is the time to do it. Like Fred said, I'll be happy to answer some questions afterwards. And should you want to contact us here in Bonzer, obviously you'll get this link afterwards. I can also share it just in the chat here. But contact us, and we can see whether or not we could just do an analysis of your domain, make it specific for your business, and thereby see how are you visible today in both the search engines, but also in the AIs. And I promise we can then do also a in-depth and deep dive into this topic. Again, thank you so much, Fred, for letting us participate here today. And I hope I sort of cleared up just some small things around AI, but basically people are still the same. They're just searching in a more nuanced way. We can make that jump to AI visibility. We just need to structure our information correctly.
Thank you, Stian. Fantastic. Great to hear all this. We will soon open up for questions. Maybe you could just share the slide, one of the slides, and questions there. Just to wrap up a bit of what you said, the essence. You started by introducing what you call the EAT model with a double E, and you said that, okay, if you're a rental company, you should show some experience in the field. You should make some case studies. That's one practical tip. you should show that you have some expertise in the field you work on. That's about creating content about it. That's another E. And then it's about authority, as you touched upon, and that's also, as I showed, about linking both the link structure on your own website, but have other sources linking back to you, because that brings up the authority of your site. And then it's about being trustworthy, as you said. That the way you create the content, the way you do it, you get an expertise level in your field, and that's important. And
Indeed,
that's a good model to follow.
Yeah, it's a very good model, and it's also sort of when you would let's say you would explain your business to a human standing in front of you, you will obviously tell them what type of experience you have. You would maybe reference some happy customers. You would show, this is our office, here is our location, this is my name, here is my background. And a lot of the work of search engine optimization or generative engine optimization is basically making sure that the way you are in reality is also how you are understood on your web page. Trustworthiness, that might be having, for example, an author profile when you're writing content. Who is the person writing this content? Which type of education does he or she have? What type of experience does he or she have? What is the name? Where are they located? If you have lots of different locations, etc. It might also be sort of just making sure that all of your basic business information is correctly set up. In Norway, we have organisasjonsnummer, like what's your postal address, like these types of things. So trustworthiness, it's more an aspiration to be on the web page as you would probably be as a human talking to another human.
Good example. And also, as you said, it's a thumb rule to create some articles, ideally 2 or 3 per month. It should be consistency, not that you just do once in a while. And if you're not able to do that, you should maybe make one a month. And when you have done a lot of content in text, you move on to the next level, maybe in different formats, as video, and podcasts, and so on. We work a lot in these areas also in Sharefox, and now we look at all the content that we made through the past years, and should we make adjustments to it? What can we do? And we also looked at Reddit, as you touch upon, and I know everybody dreams about getting listing on Wikipedia, but then you need to be historical and relevant somehow. Not a pure commercial company, so we didn't get to that yet. Good. By that, I will open up for questions to Stian and me. You could both post it in the chat here, or ask just by raising a hand. Just go ahead, Mikael Glinka.
Hi guys, thank you very much for the presentation. It was a very good one. I have a question as a local owner of rental business. I would like to know more about the bulletproof strategy for the local players. What we should focus on and what activities should be proceeded to make business going organically but locally, with all the environments around, the ChatGPT, organic search, EEAT, as you said, and all the other elements, because there is a lot of going on, and environment changed so rapidly that it's like ultra hard to follow up everything.
Should I jump on that, Fred?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You do so.
Very good. So localization is a subtopic, very much so, of search engine optimization and generative engine optimization. The core 3 pillars of localization is to have a correct setup with the Microsoft suite of tools, and also with the Google suite of tools. So for example, with your Google business profile, you should make sure that is updated with all of your specific locations. That is a strong signaling that you exist in a specific place in a given country. Number 2, the content that you write should reference and maybe a link to specific geographic locations where you are located. That's also a high sort of localization signal. When you have different rental locations, that the geographic location could be present in the URL structure. That is, again, a high localization signal. By stacking these localization signals on top of each other, both signaling through your setup with the profile, through the URL structure, and also referenced directly in the content, that is something that is very easy to do. That I'm not going to say bulletproof, but it's highly probable that you will then be understood correctly. In a more technical point of view, you also have, as I referenced earlier, lots of different types of structured data. There are hundreds of different schemas one could apply to a website. I don't know which specific area of rental you are in, but there are different types of schema markups that you can use to specifically locate a given business or a given rental service or a given sub-service of that rental service through the structured information on your website.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I see there was a question from Oscar earlier, Fred.
Okay, just in the
Yeah,
chat.
in the chat. I apologize.
Okay.
Hey, Oscar. How many search with ChatGPT or similar compared to traditional search engines? Well, basically, there aren't really good numbers for that because it's been increasing so quickly. There's still a larger amount of search when it comes to the traditional search engines, and Google still has 90+% market share in the Nordics, if we're talking about the Nordics. When it comes to the use of LLMs, it's hundreds of millions. So the exact numbers, we actually don't know because it's been increasing so rapidly. Still, traditional search engines are the largest, but where we're at now, this question is sort of becoming a little bit irrelevant because search engines like Google are integrating AI directly into the search engine. So you might have noticed that in May, Google went live with something called AI Overview. That was AI directly integrated into the search engine. Yesterday, Google announced that something which is called AI Mode, which is Gemini directly available as a search option in the Google domain, is now going to come to Europe. This is something which they've already tested in the US and the UK. So the question of whether or not people are searching in ChatGPT or Gemini, etc., that's becoming more irrelevant. The search engine and the AI search are being fused, and we need to optimize for both of them. We also don't basically know where are people going to be searching in 2 years, but we do know that whichever type of way that people will be searching for information, that it's going to be structured in sort of a mathematically logical way. And thereby, by following the principles that we talked about today, you can make sure that your domain is going to be understood correctly no matter where people are searching.
Good. I see that Tonya also have a question. Maybe you could help me out here, Christian, but we show the capabilities on how do you we deploy a sitemap and so on also when you publish a news rental service. What she says is hjelper Sharefox oss til å få kanalene aktiv mot søkeoppmotorer, eller må vi selv aktivere lenker og følge opp dette?
Yeah, I mean, very quickly, if it's okay to answer in English.
Yeah.
Like Sharefox comes equipped with a sitemap that is automatic and it's like refreshed. Yeah, it's maintained automatically. But then to actually submit that to Google, so normally our merchants are responsible for having their own Google Search Console, and it's very easy to set up. And we have some help articles about that. And then the merchants themselves are responsible right now to actually manage that. But we do have some help, so you can search for help. And yeah, in the past, I mean, there have been some tools that you could just submit the link with the sitemap, and we can sometimes do that for you. I just can't remember from our onboarding if our you can ask the thing on in the onboarding, Tonya. and we can do that for you probably too from the outside. But the best is that you have that set up so that you own it, and you can see also the results of your, the organic search and everything.
Good. Yeah. Then I think we have one from Tromsø. If a rental business with a fairly stable assortment publishes 3 articles every month, won't that create an overload of information for website visitors, making it difficult to navigate? Good question. I'm not sure if maybe you could answer and I could help out. And in addition, Stian,
Yes, of course.
We work a lot in this field as well.
Of course. Obviously, we would never want to create a situation where people feel an overload of information. We at all times want the UX, the user experience of the domain, to be highly converting. Hence, it has to be an easy to navigate, pleasurable experience to come to our website. With that being said, if we structure, let's say, these 3 articles in a specific content universe, you might also use the word blog. And that blog has different types of subtopics, let's say different types of rental equipment that we're talking about. You might also have different types of rental equipment and also cases where people use that. We structure this information in a separate area of the domain. We're not going to publish it directly at the start of the domain on page 1. Doing that, we make sure that 1, we are understood and highly visible in search engines and in AIs. 2, the user experience and navigation is easy and intuitive. And 3, we make sure that nobody is overloaded by the information, unless they obviously want to sit the entire evening and read everything that we have. But that's probably just good for business.
Good. And we do this, we work a lot on this in Sharefox as well, and we gather all the content on the resources. And as you said, we try to structure it in different topics so it's easy to navigate, and it should not interfere with your main business, being me trying to book a rental, some rental equipment. So it's a way of structuring smart and do it, categories nicely. Good. And then there was a question from Håkan.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start up a car rental business. I don't have any Sharefox. I don't have any other kind of system to work with right now. I have a tourist company in Kiruna, and I want to do both the car rental and this business, tourist business. How can you help me with that?
I'm not sure if I'm going to try to answer, and also Stian, you might add. And of course, if you should look at, if you have different sides, it's high differentiation between your business. Maybe you should consider having two services, or in one platform also being extremely clear towards your target group on what is what. As you said, it's one thing is a car rental business, and then there's some tourist activities, and you could do that both in terms of navigating in Sharefox in different categories and that part, and you should do it content wise, so the content related to cars are in that section, and the content related to tourism is in that section. And then you will look at the global settings. So I think we'll need to review how you do it smartly, if you could gather to both in the same site. So just add something if you would like, Stian.
Yes. Just from a visibility point of view, what we would do is first do an analysis of how people are searching. How are people in actuality searching, both for different types of tourist excursions in northern Sweden. And we would also look at how people are searching and in which languages people are searching for different types of automobile rental services in northern Sweden, both from a geographic point of view, services point of view, and which markets they are coming from. If, for example, we see that a massive amount of the people searching for this write in German, well, maybe we should have a subsection of the domain in German to address these specific topics. Thereby, you could be the rental king for all German tourists coming to northern Sweden to see the northern lights, because they find you when they're searching for some type of issue, let's say renting a car to visit northern Sweden, when they're coming. So always we start with the analysis. We start with how people in actuality are searching for the services that we want to provide them. And then we structure the information on our domain to address those specific, what's called search intentions, and on the languages which they use.
Yeah, around 98% of the guests that coming to Kiruna is from outside Sweden. So normally it's in English, but I also have seen a lot of people from Asia and other areas. So
yes. And
I have a website for the tourism, and I don't have anything right now with the car rental.
No. No, without without having the content talking about the topics, then it will not be possible for the AI or the search engine to understand that you are relevant. And number two, one thing that we haven't talked about, because this is very sort of a high-level introduction, you also have to make sure that you are indexed in different types of nations. Like, for example, Google is national-based. So we want to make sure that we are indexed, and that is done through technical means in, for example, the US, the UK, Germany, but also in China, not China maybe, but in South Korea, Japan, etc. So there are different ways to approach this, but it all starts with the analysis, understanding how are people searching for what you want to sell, and thereby, how should we address those search intentions?
Thank you, Stian. And I will pass it on. I saw there was Peter also had a question here.
Thank you for a really nice presentation. It's really good. I have a question about if you're writing content, is it better to make a new landing page or a blog? What's the best option?
Within our field of work, we always say it depends. So a landing page, could be very relevant if, for example, you want to have a page which is very product heavy, and which you might also want to use to drive ads to. A blog post that is more about a given topic. So just to operationalize it, the landing page that might be, let's say, about a specific lawn mower that you're renting out, or a specific car that you're renting out, or how the car renting is done in practice. The blog post is more about 10 things you should think about when renting a car to drive to northern Sweden. Not everybody might have driven in Arctic or subarctic or winter conditions before. Maybe that is something to write about. Through that, you show trustworthiness. You also show experience and expertise, etc. So the blog should be more informative and helpful. The landing page more about the service and the product you're providing.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. Can I ask you one more question? Maybe it's also to you, Fred. You have 500 customers in Sharefox, and isn't it possible that those 500 can work together somehow with linking? I mean, self-storage, the self-storage business. Can't you make some advantages for your clients that we can make us all stronger on it somehow? Is that possible?
At least it's an interesting topic. It's been discussed in Sharefox from time to another. And should we make a kind of a common marketplace for all, because it's in different industries as well. But we look into that, and then we need approval from the different customers, but it's a topic that's been discussed from time to another. But also, yeah, will be looked into, and also we see some of our customers use Sharefox for the rental services, and that might be just a part of their business. So they might have a main website where they do e-commerce or other type of services or activities. So that is also a topic in that context.
But what about Stian? What do you if you have backlinks from one self-storage to another? How big advantages is it? Maybe you can also elaborate.
Yeah, 100%. Like the original sort of thing that made Google into Google is what's called the PageRank formula. The PageRank formula is basically looking at which websites are linking to another website and using that as a proxy indicator, a standard indicator for whether or not a website was good or bad. Very basic logic, but that is sort of what made Google in the beginning. Today, backlinks still serve as a authority signal. They still sort of work as a signal of relevance. And your point of different people in the same business linking to each other, adding authority, is very valid. However, the level of impact that backlinks have today is quite a bit lower than what they used to be. Sorry to say it, but buying 10,000 backlinks from a link farm will not make you number one on Google today. It might actually harm you. That is why in my talk today, we focus much more on the quality, on the EAT, and the technical setup. Backlinks still have their place. I think that was a very exciting idea to focus on, but it'll only just help you a bit. You still have to do the hard work, but also the highly converting work of having a good website with good content and providing EAT.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. And we also looked at this topic also, what are the big players doing? Like we call ourselves, at least internally until now, the Shopify of rental, and Shopify is the global provider of e-commerce and e-commerce platform. How do they link to each other? No, they don't do it now, but how could it be integrated? What can you do and what should you not do? And the authority of links, as you said, Stian, that's a big. We looked at a lot on that in our marketing as well. I think we need to wrap up here. We promised to be within an hour and also show the recording. Thank you for participating. Thank you for contributing with your content and good insights, Stian. As promised, we will share the recording. We will share the presentation. If you have any questions or clarification to Sharefox in our context, just reach out to me or one of my colleagues. And if you have questions to Stian and maybe do an analysis on your situation, you could reach out to them. The link would be in the deck that we share afterwards. So by that, I thank all of you for participating, and we will invite you for the upcoming webinars.